Good morning. This is Big Kev in the morning on the football couch, talking a whole heap of shit because I haven't had my breakfast yet. But let's get into it. What happened last night was an absolute robbery. Now, I know that there's a lot of fanboys out there that will be talking about Messi deserves it because of what he's done over his career, but we are talking about what happened last season. And if we're doing it on what happened last season, Messi, while he's still doing great numbers, is a declining force. He's not the Messi of old. He's not the Messi of 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He is the Messi of 2018 to 2019. And in that season, there was a better player by the name of Virgil van Dijk. Now, from my opinion, I feel that this award has been done to correct what happened last year. Now, when Luca Modric won the Ballon d'Or, it potentially should have gone to Kylian Mbappe. He was a more deserving winner, being over for just the simple fact that he won the World Cup the season before and he had a standout performance in it. He did some very good things in the French league, and also he moved on to PSG and he was ripping up trees when this award would have happened. Now, I could say that Messi, even with that going on, if you're not doing it on what was won, and Messi more or less won the same things that he won last season, this season, and you have to look at it from a perspective of what is the criteria that is being used to actually judge this Ballon d'Or. The Ballon d'Or is judged by 30 reporters or journalists from across the world. They go to the France football publication who started running this Ballon d'Or, and it's gained influence as choosing the best player in the world from this list that these journalists put together. So they'll choose a top five, and basically what happens is the top player that they choose gets 6 points, the second gets 4, third 3, then 2, then 1 for the fifth player. So that's the point system. Now, they are judged on 3 criteria, which are broken down into individual and collective performances, winners during the year, 2 into player class, talent and fair play, and then 3 overall judgment of the player's career. So let's have a quick look at what happened in 2018 in the Ballon d'Or results. So Messi came in 5th. He scored 40 goals, had 14 assists, and won the Liga and the Copa del Rey. Then you had Kylian Mbappe, who scored 12 times and also had 7 assists. Also won the World Cup where he scored 4 goals in 7 games. Became the second teenager to score 2 goals in a World Cup final after Pele. Then we have Antoine Griezmann, who came 3rd, and he scored a whopping 19 goals and had 9 assists. He also starred in the Europa League, which no one really cares about, to be honest. So let's keep that moving. And also then we look at who came second, who was Cristiano Ronaldo. Now he scored 41 goals and also scored 4 goals in the World Cup. And last year was won by Luca Modric, who won the Champions League with Ronaldo as well, and he was named the best player at the World Cup for guiding his team, Croatia, to the World Cup final. Now, when you look at it from a purely numbers perspective, you have to go with Ronaldo should have won it last year because he was in the same team as Modric, and also he may not have scored in the final, but he did score some important goals in the lead up to the final. So he had a decent season compared to what he had done before. Now, when we look at this, I think that this was the anomaly in how this was chosen because it was done off sentiment. Because if you look at what has been done in previous Ballon d'Ors, it's been done off straight numbers, and usually it's chosen off who wins the Champions League. And as you can see, Modric won the Champions League. He didn't win the World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo won the Champions League, and he didn't do that well in the World Cup. So there is this precedence where the Champions League is viewed at a higher level than the league that any player plays in. So let's look at what happened in the 2019 Ballon d'Or Awards. Now, we're just going to concentrate on Messi and Van Dijk because Ronaldo didn't turn up, and I don't even know why he got third, to be honest. Yes, he won the United whatever league of countries or whatever nations they want to call that bullshit that they put out there to tire out these players. But that is a nothing competition. It's a waste of time. But anyway, that's another story. And he also won Serie A for the team that was always destined to win Serie A. He didn't do it in the Champions League. That's why he was bought. Now, Sadio should have got that, but I'm a Liverpool fan, so let's move on. So let's look at the stats for Messi. Now, Messi played 58 games, scored 54 goals. He had in the league, I think he scored like 36 in 34 games, which is ridiculous. And that was the only thing that he won last season was La Liga. Now, he got to the semi-finals, I think, in the Copa America, and came to Liverpool 3-0 up, and basically went home 4-0 losers and out of the Champions League. Liverpool going on to win that trophy. Now, if you consider what happened in 2018, where Modric won it and didn't do well, he did okay in the World Cup, and then you compare what Van Dijk has done, there's a very strong story for, like a very strong case for Van Dijk actually winning this one to continue with what has happened before, where it's not necessarily the team that wins the league and the Champions League that their players actually are stars. It's usually the team that wins the Champions League. Now, if you look at what Van Dijk has done, he has been incredible this season. So was in a team that was pipped to the post by 1 point by Man City, amassed a massive 97 points. They had the most clean sheets in the league. They had the least conceded goals in the league. They had the least, that had the most, they equal the most clean sheets in the Champions League. Also, him as a individual performer won the PFA, and also he won the Champions League and lost to Ronaldo in that United Nations of bullshit trophy that they played in June. Now, I would have thought that this should have been enough to actually get Van Dijk the award, but in true fashion, they have continued to show that If you don't play for one of the big teams in either Italy and especially Spain, you don't get the tipping votes, even though the Premiership is the most watched league in the world. Now, I also find it incredible that you have a player who, let's look at how they break this down. They break this down by an individual and collective performances during the year. So a lot of Van Dijk's individual performances stopped teams even trying to attack down his side. There was no player that got past him in about 50 or 60 games. So in terms of defensive stats, that is absolutely unheard of. A player that's not been dribbled past in 50 to 60 games, that is ridiculous. Now, if we look at player class, it is on point. He is a different class of defender. He is a Rolls Royce, as many people put it. And he has all the attributes to contend with whatever a striker brings to him, whether it's strength, pace, or skill. Now, when you look at the overall judgment of a player's career, now how is this judged? Is it judged over 1 to 5 years? Because realistically, you can't have any breakout seasons if you're a young player. If you're a young player and you absolutely score 70 goals in a season, playing for one of the most uncelebrated teams, are you not deserving of being mentioned amongst these greats in this award? In the fact that you've done something that probably no one could. You're a new player, and if you're a player that has an exceptional season, like a Salah season, does this not count for anything if you don't win anything at the end of the game, end of the day? Because only a select few clubs are going to win anything when it comes down to winning titles and cups. It's always the same clubs, the same teams that you will see in the finals. Once in a while, you get an anomaly like a Tottenham that might get into the final. And if they do, they need to win so that they can get back there. But 9 times out of 10, you'll see it once in a blue moon. The teams that you've always seen in the finals are the teams that are always there. So when we look at Lionel Messi, again, is a phenomenal player. I think that when it comes down to his stats, they are absolutely sublime. And compared to what he has done in the past, he will always be on the decline compared to what he has achieved in the past. And that might not be down to all him, because he has carried that Barcelona team. That Barcelona team is also on the decline, so they got a lot of problems. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about why these journalists and the press have overlooked the subtle and fine art of being a defender in today's game. Now, I'm just looking over the history of the Ballon d'Or, and to my surprise, only 3 defenders have actually won it. And we are looking at Franz Beckenbauer, who won it twice, and those were in the 70s. You're looking at Matthias Sammer, and you're also looking at Cannavaro. And that was after Cannavaro won, he won the World Cup. I'm not too sure if he had also won the Champions League. but that was after he won the World Cup, and he was also a fantastic defender. But in this world, there are levels, and he's not on a Van Dijk level. But those are my reasons to me feeling why Van Dijk was robbed. You know, I think it was just to correct what happened last season with Modric winning when it should have clearly been Ronaldo or Mbappe or definitely Messi. They need to get this done correctly going forward, because I think the criteria is messed up when you kind of look at the overall judging of a player's career. Because when you have legacies like Ronaldo and you have legacies like Messi, whoever comes up against them has 2, 3, 4 seasons worth of fallback to go against, and it's not being done correctly and fairly on a season by season basis. To be honest, that should be taken out, and then we can just look at it straight down the line and say, okay, who has been the best player of the year? Not the decade, not the last 5 years, not the last 4, the last year. Now, this Big Kev signing out